So, Wes, I heard that whole Antonio Brown fiasco worked itself out.
That's true, Caleb. Just further proof that Robert Kraft is always able to find a happy ending.
Ah!
Doing!
On a weekly basis, we aim to please. That's right. Episode 26, coming back with the licks and the jokes and the hiya.
The licks.
Yeah, well, I had to come up with something, and I came up with that, and here we are. Episode 26, what a day. Yesterday, week 1, blasting off like a rocket ship. Currently, we are recording on Monday night while games are also going on, so we may have updates as we speak to you.
We got the Saints-Texans games going on. We got the Broncos-Raiders here in a little bit. It's very exciting time.
Very exciting. It's both great and terrible at the same time when you play as many leagues as we are, because you're having fun watching games, some of us are, and then other times your teams are falling apart, which is normal, and you give up on fantasy football for the rest of the year.
And possibly life in general, because it is a very frustrating thing. Like when a guy scores a touchdown, I know I joke with you being like, yes! Also, dang it! But usually it's just like, when someone scores, I'm like a computer, like my eyes glaze over, and I'm like thinking about my fantasy teams, like, okay, how many teams do I have James Conner? How many teams do I have Dalvin Cook? Like, it's exhausting, man. I'm mentally exhausted. I'm ready to go back to work where I can just mindlessly do stuff.
It's rough. I will say that.
It's rough. We don't get enough credit as fantasy football owners.
But as soon as Tuesday rolls around, I can't wait for Thursday to come back and to start all over again.
I know. It's a sick process.
It is. Hey, we have a one quick announcement for any of you during the season that feel so inclined to want to support us. We now have a Patreon account. Hello. Goodbye. We got a few tiers in there. Obviously, varying rewards going on. Base, just basically you'll get a weekly email blast on our sleepers. The next side of it, you'll get a direct line to Wes and myself, so you can get fantasy football advice on your team throughout the week. And then thirdly, there's some gems in there, including you can get a guest spot on the podcast in rotation with others. So hopefully you like what you hear. You'll want to support. Otherwise, find us on Twitter, Instagram, @LifeInAFFW, and, give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. Send us your questions, or don't send us your questions, and we will answer them anyway.
I believe the top tier, Caleb, as you confirmed, is you speak in a seductive manner to the people, accompanied with a tasteful nude.
Yes, it's, don't worry, it's totally on the up and up and legal. Probably.
And it's fantasy football themed, so don't think we're straying too far.
That's true. Have you ever seen a touchdown on a person's body? I have.
What does that even mean?
I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's move on to the news, because there's a lot of news.
Oh, God, yes.
News!
Nudes!
Oh, we're back to the news part. Okay.
I said news. What'd you say?
I was thinking about nudes while I was saying news.
And I was thinking about the news while saying nudes.
Well, we're on the same page then.
Okay, let's just get into the nudes. News.
Let's start with Antonio Brown. If anybody who's listened to it for any amount of time, they remember a segment that we had called The Wrath of Wes. He's not necessarily prepared for this, but I'm going to just hand this whole Antonio Brown circus over to my kind and gentle friend and let him say what he's got to say.
Oh, geez. Okay. It's not going to be exactly the Wrath of Wes everyone's used to, but so everyone knows Antonio Brown left Pittsburgh, couldn't be happier, went to Oakland Raiders. I'm ready to win. I'm ready to be the centerpiece here. Oh, John Gruden needs so many sticks of chapstick for kissing the guy's ace for how many weeks he was there. I don't know, a month maybe. Then all of a sudden he had his little foot thing, then the helmet issue, then him and Mayock got into it, then he's getting fined, and then he wants released. We all joked about it. right, Caleb? We were at a little children's party when it happened. Oh, he got cut. Hell, what a nut job, Something ain't right with him. I bet you the Patriots pick him up. Yeah, I bet you the stinking, they always get him. Joking. Caleb, just before dinner, thank you for that, showed me the Patriots did pick him up, and I threw up in my head. That is the most vulgar thing I've ever heard in my life.
It was rough.
Antonio Brown, a stinking child who kicks and screams. It's like when you see a child kicking and screaming, and the mom sends the little kid to the dad, and then he kicks and screams, and the dad spanks him and sends him to the uncle. And you know what the uncle does? He gives him a Super Bowl ring or a lollipop. The guy is getting rewarded for being an absolute self-centered a-hole, and it makes everybody cringe, and it makes everyone cringe. Also, the extra added nut kick is it's the New England Patriots. So you got Tom Brady thrown to Demaryius Thomas, Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman. Just think of where this receiving core was a couple months ago. And you also got Antonio Brown now. Like, they ran so many 0 tight end sets last night, they don't even need a tight end.
No.
Tom Brady, I know everyone's going to say, oh, he's ageless. I think I could be successful in that offense. You got 3, I think I read somewhere in 2014, 3 of the top 4 wide receivers in receiving yards are on the Patriots now. Like, it's insane what they got on that team now. And what just irritates me is Antonio Brown's going through the same puppy love phase he did with the Raiders. Oh, business is booming. Oh, I love my quarterback. Oh, yeah. I just hope he melts that team down. I would just hope. It's like when you put in like a self-destructive thing in some, in like a camp or something, and it blows up. I hope that's what this is. Just stick Antonio Brown in, and he will be the demise of the New England Patriots. That would get me so freaking aroused. I would do anything for anybody. Anything.
He's without a doubt the most frustrating personality, I think,
it's
ever
bad.
in football.
It's bad when T.O. comes out and said, dang, like I wasn't ever this bad. Like, This guy isn't mentally insane.
What we don't know is that, I mean, obviously he always wanted to go to the Patriots, and so he planned this thing the entire time, knowing that he was going to be able to become a free agent and sign wherever he wanted and go with the Patriots. And guess what? He has a chance, if he plays well this year, of getting $20 guaranteed million next year, and he'll make more than he was going to make at the Raiders.
He's going to have to do something he's never done in his life and put the team first.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. Did you see his YouTube video of him supposedly?
Yes. Yeah.
God, man. Did you see how many dislikes it had?
No.
It had, where is it now? It had 24,000 likes and 33,000 dislikes. Everybody hates him. He's such an idiot. God, man.
He's just
and
really
he ended
good,
up on
though,
the
man.
Patriots. Like, he's good.
That's the problem.
But he's a bastard, man. I'm sorry. I got to say it. You can edit it out later, Caleb. I just cannot stand him. And I feel like and it's just annoying to see someone get rewarded for bad behavior.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. He's
going to get a Super Bowl ring for being a numbnut.
Yep. And that was an off-the-cuff.
Anything else?
Wrath of Wes. Obviously, you've watched the games. You had him on your fantasy team. Thankfully, Ezekiel Elliott signed last week, was able to practice all week, and was a go. Yesterday, they didn't need him a lot. He put up a few points, but nothing much. The Dallas offense was crazy good, but we'll get into that more. Melvin Gordon seems to be aiming for week 6 to 8 in that range to come back. We'll see what happens. He's going to have to come back with his tail between his legs at this point, because Justin Jackson and Austin Eckler fared quite well without him in the interim. So we'll see what happens. I imagine they'll slot him back in, but who knows? They may discipline him by letting him just sit for a few.
I think this is a very humbling experience for Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
Like, I saw funny tweets out there, like, Melvin Gordon's like, hey, Antonio Brown, like, Andrew Luck, just, hey, remember, I'm still holding out? Like, everyone just forgets about him, man.
Yeah.
Chargers didn't skip a beat, at least when it came to the backfield. No one's trying to make an offer for him. The Eagles were the only team, apparently, that tried to make a trade for him. The Niners might be an intriguing candidate to trade for him because of all the injuries going on over there, but still, if the Chargers asking price, if they're written in stone, I don't know. I don't think he's going anywhere because the Chargers, they're fine. Let him sit, and no team's going to pay that much for a running back and then pay him buku bucks. I'm talking buku.
That's what he's looking for. Now he's looking at Ezekiel's contract and saying, give me that money.
Yeah, and everyone's like, what? Who? Melvin?
It's better for him. I don't know why he just doesn't show up, come play, take his $5 million, and then become a free agent next year, and you're fine. Why put yourself and the team through this? Why does it matter at this point? Even if you're trying to save your body, I guess he is injury prone, but whatever. It'll be over eventually.
Yeah, but when he comes back, I don't think he's going to get the same workload he's accustomed to.
Right. He doesn't need to. I mean, the next few weeks will play out. Maybe it was a flash in the pan with Eckler this week. It is week 1, so.
Okay, let's get rolling here.
Darius Geis, unfortunately, suffered an injury in his non-injured knee from last year and is out at least a few weeks. They're going to do some digging to see if they need to put him on IR, and it's a bad turn of events. He wasn't even performing that well, unfortunately, going into the game. And in fact, they made Adrian Peterson inactive, which ticked off some of the veterans in the game, and now they're going to have to turn right back to Adrian Peterson. So bad news for Geis. I know you and I started to get really high on him the last few weeks, and then, so bad turnout for him.
And this isn't, like I told you earlier, this isn't totally bad news. I mean, it's not great news, but he was having a terrible game. He looked stiff. He just didn't look like the person we drafted, and I was starting to feel like, maybe he's going to be a huge bust or something. But if he was playing through this pain, okay, rest a couple weeks and then come back 100% and then really ram it down their throats.
Yeah, you always hate to have that guy that's just nursing an injury for weeks and weeks, and you have him in your starting lineup and he just doesn't perform. So
yeah.
Nick Foles, broken clavicle, out indefinitely, possibly half the year. He didn't look bad for the first couple of drives he was in. And then his backup, Gardner Minshew, came in and set records for efficiency for a player's first game. Didn't stop the Jaguars from going out and trading for Josh Dobbs from the Steelers for a 5th-round pick. So don't know the direction of the Jaguars. Unfortunately, it's going to take their one receiver down quite a bit. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names when I'm trying to think of them. Who I was high on.
D.D. Westbrook.
D.D. Westbrook, yes. D.
I didn't stutter. That's his name.
It sounds like a car trying to start.
How long can we do that for?
Too long. D.D. Westbrook still had a touchdown. Great, but we know his connection with Foles was supreme, and now we are unsure as DJ Chark and some other wide receivers had a lot better connection with Gardner Minshew. So we'll see what happens there.
Jaguars did not impress me at all. I just want to say that. They have a young team full of egos and personalities, and they are just a house on fire, man.
Yeah, that was bad.
Nick Foles coming back in a couple weeks is not going to solve a single thing. So Jaguars are done, man.
Yeah, which was crazy because you're playing the best offense, arguably the best offense in the league, and you'd think that you would have your stuff together because you're going to have to play the best game you can possibly play to beat them. And no. Leonard Fournette was getting into fights almost after every single play.
Dude, Miles Jack was swinging around like he was a boxer.
It's crazy.
God, man.
One of the
Antonio Brown there.
One of the more muddied running back cores has become completely clear after week 1. The 49ers, Tevin Coleman, unfortunately, has an ankle injury, going to miss a few weeks, leaving Matt Breida as the lead back and Raheem Mostert to come in to back him up. So very interesting how that's turned out. If you were one of those people that grabbed Breida late in drafts, you could have some serious value there.
You might want to go to the waivers and ask him to pass the Mostert.
Oh, I like it.
I just thought of that.
I'm going to sample that, and I'm just going to slip it in every now and then on the podcast.
That's a lie. I didn't just come up with that. It took me hours last night of thinking.
You were up, just writing things down, calculating, waking your wife up. What do you think about this one?
My whole wall is covered in Sharpie, like condiments,
And
things that rhyme with Mooster.
then you were eating a hot dog and you had a mustard in your hand, or you're looking for the mustard and you said, "Hey, honey, can you pass the mustard?"
Oh my God!
I figured it out.
It's happening! It's happening!
Oh, Devin Funchess, also injured, likely to miss some time. Deion Kane could be a great guy to pick up in his stead. We'll see how the Colts looked a lot better than I thought they would. They came very close to winning that game, as you know.
They should have won that game.
Should have won that game.
Adam Vinatieri, it's time to hang it up and go to the old folks' home.
Man, he's been around so long. It's crazy. So, yeah. Any other significant injuries, information you want to talk about?
We got a lot here to go, so if there is, I'm going to ignore it.
Sweet. Let's get into the recap.
Recap it! Tell me what happened. Recap it! What the heck happened?
At first, I thought it kind of sounded like Rastafarian, and then it changed. Like, I don't even want to try.
Yeah, thanks for the help.
Oh, we're going to get into the winners and losers from week 1. And
go ahead, man. Go ahead. Tell me what the heck happened week 1.
Listen, we got to start.
Can I preface something?
Yes.
Or do you want me to wait until after you give me the winners and losers?
Could I say that I prefer a preference? No?
Yeah.
Okay, I prefer it.
Okay.
Preferentially.
So I just want to say this. Nobody freak out, okay? I don't need everyone losing their minds.
Yes.
Just relax.
It's week 1. Week 1.
Yes. Now listen.
Yeah.
After week 1 last year, okay? Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback 4. Matt Ryan was the quarterback 25. Relax. Isaiah Crowell was the running back 4. Derrick Henry was the running back 57. Relax. Kenny Stills was the wide receiver 4. Amari Cooper was the wide receiver 77. Relax. Will Dissly of the Seahawks was tight end 3. Travis Kelce was tight end 53. Take a deep breath. Relax.
Is this a mantra that we're about to get into?
Yeah.
Relax.
Now, give your body over to the fantasy gods. No, like, I know, like, even my first reaction was like, dude, I got to trade for this guy. Or, I got to get this guy up. It's just week 1, man. Like, this is the first full game these starters. This is probably the first game most of these starters have given more than 2 drives on. So just relax.
Oh, yeah.
Or freak out. I don't know.
That being said, neither of us are high on this guy. He made my Dolphins look like fools, but probably the biggest winner from this week. Lamar Jackson, 17 of 20, 324 yards and 5 touchdowns. Barely having to run at all, made a very snappy remark to the press, said, pretty good for a running back, huh? And that was his comment. And an impressive performance. Could it just be a terrible Dolphins team that's clearly tanking this year? Or is the Ravens defense for real? Wes, where do you think this leads Lamar Jackson? What road does he go on the rest of the year?
I think he's looking at a fork in the road, and he's going to go right down the middle. I feel like that is definitely not Lamar Jackson. I don't think he's as bad as we predicted, Caleb, but I definitely don't think that's normal Lamar Jackson. He's not paving the way to an MVP season. He's not going to throw for 5,000 yards. Marquise Brown is not going to catch what he did, like 130 yards and 2 touchdowns on 18 plays. He was on 18 snaps.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. But no, they are definitely winners of the week. Don't expect this to be a regular thing. And I don't even think I have to say that. I think a lot of people already know that.
Yeah.
See, I feel like our listeners are smart guys. I'm giving you guys credit. I don't even feel like I have to say this, but for the sake of the show, I do.
Yeah, people get very excited very fast. I mean, Marquise Brown, that's like Tyler Lockett efficiency. 4 for 147, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett had 2 targets. He just happened to catch one of them for a 40-yard touchdown, making his day valuable.
Oh!
without that,
Caleb.
yeah.
Can I excite you?
Yes, you can.
Breaking news. DeAndre Hopkins just got another touchdown.
Whoa!
Wow.
I have the stack of Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins in a few leagues, and they may single-handedly win my week for me together. That's 2 touchdowns, by the way, for DeAndre Hopkins, and 3 touchdowns for Deshaun Watson, so I'll be okay with
Stick with me, Caleb. Stick with me, Caleb. I know you're a hyper state of arousal right now, but we got to concentrate.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's. You know what? I want to. I'm going to be pivoting off of our docs. Okay, you just can keep me on track, and that's fine. But I want to talk about John Ross for a moment. John Ross came in because I don't know what to make of this. The Cincinnati Bengals is the Seahawks secondary just that bad in week 1? Because John Ross had 11 targets, 7 receptions, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This is John Ross, the same John Ross that can't seem to be on the field for more than a few games this season, who is lightning fast, but unfortunately made of paper. What's going on over there?
Honestly, I'm just going to be a Debbie Downer over here. I wouldn't get too excited about that again either. He got free a few times. Yes, he's crazy fast. But he left the secondary of the Seahawks is very weak, okay? It's not the Legion of Boom anymore. Let's also remember he left a lot of yards on the field. He dropped the ball a bunch of times out there. So he could have had a huge game if he could just catch the ball. So yeah, he had he's a good receiver, but he is not running. He's not the running mate for Tyler Boyd. When AJ Green comes back, he's going to be irrelevant. And honestly, if I'm being honest with you guys, I don't think he's going to be doing much next week. So
he's one of those guys, I guess. I mean, that many targets, it's hard to say that, but I don't know if I'm picking him up personally. Guess we'll find out.
Well,
in the waiver.
How many times did Andy Dalton throw? Like 50 times? Like, that's not regular Cincinnati ball. It's just Mixon went down, and I think they felt like they had to throw a lot.
Fortunately, it looks like it's nothing serious for Joe Mixon, so he might be back. Sammy Watkins.
Mixing it up.
Holy Sammy Watkins. Oh, by the way, Tyreek Hill is out for a few weeks. Sorry, I forgot to mention that in the news segment. That's pretty big because Sammy...
So he kind of did get his suspension.
He kind of did. They planned it that way. Sammy Watkins stepped in, though, and was apparently uncoverable by the Jacksonville Jaguars. 9 receptions, 198 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Yeah, he got the hat trick in there. I mean...
That's insane, man.
We know he's fast. We know he can be good, but he doesn't stay healthy. I mean, if he's healthy going into a game at this point, if he's on the waiver wire, you better spend all your fab on him at this point. For the next few weeks,
Fabulous.
He could be one of the best wide receivers. Amazing
You're
job.
pretty anti-Sammy Watkins, though, going into the season.
I am. With Sammy Watkins gone, though, with Tyreek Hill gone, clearly he has a connection with Patrick Mahomes, which might be the most valuable connection you can have. How about your boy? Tell us about your boy, Dalvin Cook.
I will say this, though, about Sammy Watkins. You probably aren't going to get him. In Yahoo, he's owned by 91% of teams, so...
Hey, if you're that 9%, you must be in a 4-team league.
Yes. Or like me, a 1-team league to make myself feel good.
I have the best team.
I win every week.
You still manage to lose. Tell us about your boy, Dalvin Cook. How did he do?
Dude, healthy Dalvin Cook. I told you, man. He's hot. He's awesome. I do feel like he's not going to play 16 games this year, but, 5 yards a carry. That's what we're used to with him. 111 yards on 21 attempts, 2 touchdowns, which we're not accustomed to seeing out of him. Usually Latavius Murray in the past would vulture those.
Mm-hmm.
2 touchdowns, that's great. I was a little surprised by only 2 receptions for 9 yards, but I mean, what am I going to do here? Complain about a free lunch?
Yeah.
The guy did awesome.
Kirk Cousins had 10 passes the entire game. So you can't really expect much more. And can I say, they must be pretty confident in how healthy he is. He rushed 21 times. That's nothing. They weren't like, hey, let's just give him 12, 13, snaps, see how he's doing. No, they gave him the ball a lot. So,
and to piggyback off of what Caleb said earlier, if Dalvin Cook is in your waivers right now, you're going to want to use all your fab on him.
Yeah. So, there's something else I'm going to ask after we get through some of these that I'm curious about what you say. But Austin Eckler, how about Austin Eckler stepping in for Melvin Gordon, 154 yards from scrimmage, 3 touchdowns.
Dang, man.
Just crushing Melvin Gordon's hopes and dreams of getting a payday from the Chargers.
Maybe even hurting that, showing that maybe it's not so much Melvin Gordon. I mean, he averaged almost 5 yards a carry with a touchdown and 6 receptions for almost 100 yards with 2 touchdowns. I mean, wow.
It was tasty.
Yeah, he was a tasty treat for sure.
How about a nice surprise? Broken finger or not, Deshaun Jackson, 8 receptions, 154 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Showed great compatibility with Carson Wentz. Welcome back to Philly, Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, welcome back. What the crap?
Did a great job. So very exciting to see him back. I know I was trying to target him in some best ball leagues, and he does not disappoint.
Yeah, I tried to target him in some best ball, but someone got to him before me.
Don't know who that would be.
Because he's very erratic, but I mean, Carson Wentz is probably the best quarterback he'll have ever played with, other than, I mean, Donovan McNabb was up there too. So he might have a career year. It's crazy to say about a 32-year-old receiver, but strap in, boys. The ride's about to start.
It's pretty exciting. Dak Prescott had himself a day, 25 of 32 for 405 yards and 4 touchdowns. Made it look easy against the Giants, but the Cowboys looked very solid on all ends of the ball. Couldn't stop Evan Ingram, but Evan Ingram just absolutely torched their world in one of the more explosive tight end games of the week, the best tight end game of the week. So Evan Ingram against a good Dallas defense might have been showing that he truly is the number 1 receiver on that team, and quite the value.
Dude, is it just me, or is it more than ever players are a lot more injury prone? Because I'm going to say the same thing I said about Dalvin Cook. Evan Ingram could be a top 3 tight end, but you can't trust his health.
Right.
I mean, he's just susceptible to these little minor injuries or bigger injuries that'll take him out 2 games here, play a few games, 3 games there. So he's got all the talent in the world. When he came out of college, I just remember them saying, like, this is a wide receiver in a tight end body.
Right.
Like, he is, and he's proven it.
Yeah. TJ Hawkinson showed that he has the stuff, and again, it could be against just a bad Cardinals team. But, I mean, if you think on that line of thinking, if AJ Green is, quote, healthy and on the field, are you playing AJ Green?
Cha.
Okay. And he is one of the more injury-prone receivers in the league. So same is going to go for Evan Ingram, for a lot of Dalvin Cook. If they're healthy and on the field, you're playing them regardless, in my mind.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. LaShawn McCoy surprised a lot, and he was running pretty hard in that Kansas City Chiefs game against the Jacksonville defense. Now, we've seen the defense of Jacksonville be shredded by running backs before, but he looked pretty good for being an old running back in a brand new system.
10 carries, 81 yards.
Yeah.
Like, this is terrible news for Damian Williams, and LaShawn McCoy is having a rebirth in the Chiefs offense, man. This is a perfect type of, he never should have been in Buffalo, where it's a ground and pound. This is the kind of spread offense, draw to your running back kind of offense that he is all about. You know, give him some space, spread it out. He is going to have a great year, and he went to the ideal situation, man. I'm excited to see what LaShawn McCoy can do in Kansas City, even though I kind of hear he's kind of a D-bag outside of football. Very much looking forward to him as a football player.
Couple of other notable ones. Derrick Henry, who we both also are down on, 159 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. Matt Stafford looked in good health, 27 of 45, 385, and 3 touchdowns. Looking good. Andy Dalton looked good. Case Keenum, surprisingly, out past Patrick Mahomes, so that's always good. Marlon Mack, 25 for 174 and a touchdown. And we can't forget Christian McCaffrey, who, well, we all knew he was good and had over 200 yards from scrimmage and a couple touchdowns.
Played every single offensive snap, which is interesting.
Good or bad, running into the ground or not, he's getting a huge payday in the offseason.
Oh, God, yeah. Let's get into something more fun.
Oh, yeah.
The loser.
Wes Bohr was this week's big... No,
It's
so funny. Well, how you heard
You're
how
so funny.
I am.
Next time I see you, don't question while I kick you in the crotch, because you'll know.
Listen, I'm going to let you handle the losers section, and I'll just make some comments.
Well, I think you shouldn't do that, because I don't have all the fancy stats. But I'll start off with Baker Mayfield. Just big old hyper Mayfield. I just came up with that, too. 285 yards. Oh, pretty good. How about a touchdown? Oh, not bad. 3 interceptions. This little man had himself a coming down to earth experience.
Oh, yeah.
And where Browns got creamed by the Titans, man. We're not talking about a close game. Creamed. And, I don't think this is anything to get scared about, but just a humbling experience for all the Browns. So maybe they won't win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah. It just
the
team as a whole was not great. Even Nick Chubb didn't get too much done. They couldn't obviously give him the ball since they were down so much. So not a great week for the Browns.
No, not at all. Tyreek Hill, like we talked about, he had 2 receptions for 16 yards, but the main reason he's a loser is because he's a jerk. And also, he's hurt, and he's going to be out for a couple weeks. Rumor has it he's probably going to avoid IR, but it will be a couple weeks. Next loser, Damian Williams, someone I was very excited about this year, Caleb. 13 carries for a whopping 26 yards. He saved the day with a touchdown, and if you're in PPR, 6 receptions for 39 yards. Not a terrible day, but was it a sign of things to come? When you saw Carlos Hyde go, you thought you got a little excited. Well, he's the loser because I feel like he's just going to be losing more and more touches.
Yeah.
Why don't you take the next one, Caleb?
You put Kalen Ballage and Kenyon Drake. It's the Dolphins, okay? Albert Wilson re-injured his calf. Kalen Ballage was absolutely stuffed, could not get anywhere. Kenyon Drake had minor opportunity, but could not get anything done. The quarterbacks were terrible. Devontae Parker is probably the most appealing player on that team, and you don't want to go after Devontae Parker. It was not a good show. Just stay away from the Miami Dolphins. It's not worth it.
I don't think you had to say that. The Dolphins are in for a rough year. It's a necessary evil, but yeah, I don't know if there's any Dolphin really I'm getting excited about.
No.
Sorry?
I was going to say the kicker. You might have a lot of field goals, or maybe not.
Yes. Cameron Newton, my quarterback in a few leagues. I got a really bad feeling after Sunday that we might have seen peak Cam Newton. 25 for 38. So he threw the ball almost 40 times for a mere 239. Threw a pick, did not throw a touchdown, man. And hey, it's Cam Newton. At least he saved it on the ground, right? 3 attempts, -2 yards. Thank you very much for sticking that in my pooper, because that stank. Next one.
I have to feel like Thursday night they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that has all the makings of you're going to score a lot of points as a quarterback, and so that's kind of if we'll see how he fares in that game. Like if he's back to even semi-normal shape, obviously he was just coming off of shoulder injury, ankle injury. I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to see how he does on Thursday. And then after that, I'll make a decision on Cam Newton.
Okay.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Asking for a friend. Lamar Jackson or Cam Newton this week?
I would say Lamar Jackson. Because the Cardinals defense stinks. And Cam Newton, I've had him in the past. And you think when he plays the Bucs, it's going to be a shootout. And he disappoints a lot. So I would say Lamar Jackson.
All right.
If you're going for 1 week, yes.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Joe Mixon, our next loser. There's no question. He had 6 attempts for, I was going to try and make a Mixon pun, but I
couldn't think of it.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's you mixing over there? Oh, a cup of Joe?
God. I mean, not bad, not bad. Okay,
a cup of Joe.
Fine.
Mixing a cup of Joe. Look, call off the dogs. I'll stop whenever you want me to. But I think deep down, you really like it, and you look forward to what I'm going to do to people's names.
What is this, a scandal like Watergate with Nixon?
This is Pungate.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 10 yards on 6 attempts. Oh, that's great for your second-round pick. He had 2 receptions for 7 yards. Yes, he got hurt. I don't care. 3.5-yard average per catch, 1.7 yards per rush. This was the guy you were scared of last week, and it was duly noted because I feel the same way. I'm not excited about him at all. I think he's a loser for the year, not just for the week. But, yeah, Joe Mixon, not good. Now, his injury doesn't sound like he's going to keep him out next week, but doesn't really matter.
It could. No. Yeah,
well, it could.
It's a bad offensive line. Obviously, I mean, they passed really well. So I'm curious to see if that continues. And maybe it was just the Seahawks. Maybe the Seahawks defense wasn't jiving.
Jive!
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, what's the next one?
Oh, let's just say the entire Pittsburgh Steelers, all 53 men.
It was
Roethlisberger. Oh, my God. I'll tell you what, man. That game made me want to just drive to Pittsburgh and punch Mike Tomlin right in his privates. 27 for 47, 276 yards, and a pick. They couldn't even muster a touchdown against the Patriots. Even in the fourth quarter when it's junk time, even Ryan Fitzpatrick, didn't he throw a touchdown?
Yeah, he did.
The Dolphins,
Just one.
Dolphins at least scored a touchdown. Pittsburgh did not even score a touchdown. That's pathetic.
Yeah.
You had James Conner not doing much, but I'll tell you this, I'm not panicking. Pittsburgh always comes out of the gate slow. I'm not worried about Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not worried about James Conner. I'm not worried about Juju. I'm not worried about James Washington. Who I am worried about? Dante Moncrief, who had almost 10 targets and dropped them like Roethlisberger rubbed it around in a bowl of peanut butter and butter. Peanut butter. Okay.
Peanut butter and butter.
And slippery stuff and soap and junk. He couldn't catch. He sucks.
It was not good.
And Vance McDonald, I don't even think got targeted in the whole game, which was a little unsettling because he was getting drafted pretty high. He was one of your highest rated tight ends, Caleb, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he didn't catch a pass till the last drive, did you say? It was bad.
Well, I went to bed after that because my eyes were tired of getting,
Hey, quick update, by the way. Latavius Murray, 30-yard touchdown rush.
Where have you been, Caleb?
I know.
Drew Brees.
And Taysom Hill, a reception touchdown from Drew Brees.
Can I ask you something on a side note?
Okay.
Where do you, when Taysom Hill, it's time for him to re-sign, what do you compare him to give him a salary? Like, he's your quarterback / special teamer / running back / none of those.
He honestly might be one of the more valuable players. Like, he's so versatile, and when he gets on the field, you have no idea what's going to happen.
But, like, it's not like you sign him and he's like, now he's a top 20 quarterback.
Right.
Or now he's a top 20 running back. Like, where is he? Where is he?
I don't know. He's one of the more valuable gadget players, I think, in the NFL because it makes that offense scarier, for sure.
Much more scarier.
Extra.
Sorry for interrupting.
Much more. Yeah. So, yeah, the Steelers was not happy. I got Big Ben. It wasn't week one. You have to think week one. You got to shake out something, but made for a difficult game to watch, and it was very frustrating. Seeing the Patriots without Antonio Brown just roll over them.
And can I say this? I don't think Antonio Brown is going to have a 100 reception, 1,200-yard season. Tom Brady is famous for throwing it to about 54 people per game. Antonio Brown is not going to get force-fed like he did in Pittsburgh. As a Steelers fan, I saw Antonio Brown get thrown to in triple coverage just because he's whining on the sideline. So they tried to force-feed him. Tom Brady's not going to force-feed him, Yeah, they're going to have him on some gadget plays, and he's going to be a great receiver there. I don't see him going over 1,000 yards. I don't see him scoring 10 touchdowns. He's going to be a good part of that offense, and if he can humble himself, be a great part of that offense. But if you watched the game last night, Rex Burkhead's catching slants, and James White, and you got Julian Edelman, and you got Josh Gordon, and you got Philip Dorsett getting 2 touchdowns. Like, there's so many mouths to feed, and Tom Brady doesn't give a crap what the name is on the back of your jersey.
Yeah.
He just cares. So I wouldn't expect normal Antonio Brown numbers.
Yeah, I'm play him if you have him because he still will put something up because he's a talented guy. But yeah, you don't expect him to get 160 targets? No.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that I'm going to take 10 seconds per player for the next 3 players, just because we're going to get into something a little more exciting.
Oakley dokley.
Okay, Jameis Winston. Yes, he had a pretty poor game. 194 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. If you've ever owned Jameis Winston, you are used to this. Next week, he'll probably throw for 5 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams was very disappointing, but it was against the Chicago Bears. Probably the best defense in the NFL. Relax. We'll see how they do next week. Kerryon Johnson. Caleb, why don't you tell me? Do you feel up to talking about your boy?
It was a surprisingly tough RBBC, and I don't understand it exactly. Possibly was it game script? He still seemed to be the most talented part of the offense, so I expect them to change it moving forward. But yeah, it's something to watch. Let it ride. Let it ride.
Okay, it's written. Now, get us into this little experiment you want to try, Caleb.
All right, wave them in.
Over here, boys.
Yeah, we're talking the waiver wire pickups of the week from each position, looking at the most available players from each position. We're going to talk about some guys that we say to target and go after, whether streaming value or just all season long value. So we're going to get right into it. And we're going to start at the quarterback position. And I'm going to give it a go if it's okay. And I'm going to start in at quarterback, Josh Allen. Okay? For particular reasons. Yes, he had 4 turnovers in the game. But despite those 4 turnovers, he still finished with 254 yards, a touchdown, as well as 10 rushes, 38 yards, and a rushing touchdown on the ground, finishing at near 18 fantasy points in a 6-point per touchdown league. Not the greatest of games, no. But his schedule, the way his schedule is going to work out for the next few weeks, you honestly couldn't ask for a better schedule, as he's got the Giants next, then Cincinnati. So if you're streaming quarterbacks, those are very, very appealing weeks. Watch out for Josh Allen. He's available in 68% of leagues. He's going to do more on the ground. They're only going to get better. He started to develop good rapport and connection with his receivers late in the game. I like Josh Allen.
Okay, since you snuck him, Caleb.
Snickety snack.
And now explain to the folks out there how this is going to work. Now, we're kind of drafting a small team here, right?
Yeah, so we're going to see how each of our picks pan out on a week-to-week basis from the waiver wire. So we're going to keep track. I got Josh Allen as my QB right now. You're going to pick a primary quarterback of your own. And next week, we're going to see who had the winning waiver wire team.
Now, is this like a PPR thing? Are we going to count up on how well they do, or
the rankings I'm looking at in availability is a PPR league. So,
okay.
So that's that.
So I'm going to go with the quarterback that I had suggested that everyone goes with their daily fantasy.
Had a feeling.
And that's a Matt Stafford. Well, it's kind of thin pickings out there, Caleb. It was either him or like Sam Darnold. So Matt Stafford, he is owned in, I believe, let me confirm, 26% of leagues. He lit it up in Arizona. Now, not that was super impressive, but now he goes to the Chargers, who had a hard time holding their own versus the Colts with Brissett back there. So I'm not saying the Lions are going to win, but I think Stafford's going to put up a respectable amount of points fantasy-wise. So, yeah, Matt Stafford's my dude. What are you going to say about it?
No, I definitely like the pick. He was it was between Josh Allen and Matt Stafford for me as well. Great minds think alike. We're both awesome, whatever you want to say.
Yeah. Don't even mess with us. We'll beat you up.
Yeah. Oh, absurdly hard. We'll just continue to just wail on you.
Dude, if anyone's listened here long enough, they know how many fifth graders we could beat up. So don't even try and fight us.
Yeah. Moving on to running back. So this one was tough for me, and I'm going to tell you who the player was going to be, and then I'm going to tell you who I'm actually choosing. So originally I was going to pick Rex Burkhead, which, by the way, he's owned in 5% of leagues. Go get him, okay? Go get him. Because they're playing Miami Dolphins next week. Rex Burkhead dominated. He had 8 rushes for 44 yards, 5 receptions for 41 yards. Easily one of those could turn into a touchdown. I mean, they've got the Dolphins, then the Jets, Bills, Washington. A great pickup. So watch out for Rex Burkhead. He could be very sneaky, but the problem is things could get away from the Dolphins so fast next week that they just won't need him. My pick is Chris Thompson. Darius Geis going down now. Adrian Peterson going to be the lead ball carrier. Chris Thompson going to be the reception dominant back that he had been in years past. He's currently healthy. He had 10 targets this past week, 7 catches, 68 yards. He's only owned in 13% of leagues. It's looking good. Yeah, he's playing Dallas, but they're going to need to dump the ball off. And who are they going to dump it off to? Chris Thompson. So my running back is Chris Thompson.
Yes, Caleb, you got the first 2 picks, and god dang you to the bowels of heck, they were my 2 guys. Chris Thompson, man.
I'll give you the next 2.
I think last year was a down year. I think we're going back to the old Chris Thompson, who will give you a crazy amount of points in PPR. So I'm down to 2, and I'm still scratching my head. I don't know who I'm going to go with. Adrian Peterson is now the lead back, man, and we know what he's capable of. But I think I'm going to get a little trickier. No, I'm not.
No trickiness here.
Well, I'm gonna let you know who I was thinking about. Ronald Jones actually had an impressive game. 13 carries, 75 yards, 1 reception, and 18 yards receiving. So in a game where they were down, he really made the most of his opportunities, which is impressive. But, oh man, I think I'm going to have to go with Adrian Peterson, workhorse back. I don't trust the Tampa Bay. That's weird. We both picked Redskins.
I was going to say, that's a true head-to-head we're trying right there.
Indeed. Very stupid of us. I don't like Rex Burkhead because he had a great game, which means he probably won't be suiting up next week. That's the only reason why. So I will take Adrian Peterson. I like Ronald Jones, but again, Tampa Bay is so all over the place. I'll stick with Adrian Peterson, who I know is probably going to get 20 carries, and I'm going to hope he's going to get a few touchdowns.
All right. I like it. I love it. And yes, I want some more of it. So as I pivot constantly as I'm sitting here just listening to you, like, oh, wait, I'm going to let you choose your wide receiver first. I'm sorry. I chose quarterback and running back first. I'll let you choose wide receiver first, and then I'll get the slim pickings. You have waiver wire priority.
Ooh, what do I do here? I'm all excited and giddy. Someone that's been owned in 46% of the leagues. Okay, so this is right under our little cusp of 50%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Drew Brees just threw a touchdown pass to a guy, Smith, number 10.
Traquan.
First name? Traquan, yeah.
Oh, boy.
So the Saints just went up by 2, extra point pending. Jamison Crowder, what the crap, man? 14 receptions, 99 yards? PPR leagues are melting over this guy. And I'll tell you what, I don't expect him to get that, but I expect him to get a lot of catches. I'm talking 7-8 a game. Sam Darnold is not only a check down king, but this guy is just running around. I mean, he's averaged like 7 yards a catch. He's not going downfield a lot. And Sam Darnold is not, I don't know why he's not feeling comfortable enough to throw it downfield, but he's not. And Jamison Crowder is going to reap the benefits. Go ahead, Caleb.
That's a good one because that's kind of who I was going to end up choosing.
Yes.
So this one was another difficult one, obviously. But I'm going to have to go with Danny Amendola this week. Danny Amendola has proven himself to be an awesome slot receiver. Matt Stafford loves his slot receiver. You know who a slot receiver used to be? Golden Tate. And Golden Tate did phenomenal when he was a Lion. Danny Amendola now has that role. He had 13 targets, not quite the 17 that Crowder had, against even a bad defense in the Arizona Cardinals. You know, you cut that in half and he gets 6 catches still. He's still going to put up some value. He's owned in only 6% of fantasy leagues. So he's going to be a lot more valuable. There's honestly a lot of receivers right now that I would be willing to take a shot on, but I'm going to go for Danny Amendola. And some of that because, again, they're going against the Chargers who just, gave up quite a few points to the slot receiver. So Danny Amendola is my pick, and you can move on to the tight end.
Now I'm mad because Matt Stafford's my quarterback.
He's going to throw
Hey, little fun fact about a guy I didn't think was going to do much. DK Metcalf on the Seahawks. 4 catches, 89 yards, and I don't know if I can find it right now, but he was targeted a surprising amount of times. 6 targets, which doesn't sound like a lot, but on that offense, I feel like it's an incredible amount. So just another guy to keep an eye on. Not like I'm picking him or anything. I'm just telling you.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Tight end. I was going to go with somebody, but I'm not now. I am going to go. I don't want to say the name in case you take him. Jordan Reed, 41%. I forget which one it is. A percent of leagues is owned. So he's not even owned in that many leagues. And he was really improving in the offseason, had a really great OTAs and all that stuff. Of course, had his classic concussion, but he's going to play week 2. They sound very optimistic about that. And with Case Keenum, I feel like he could have a really great year if he's healthy. Vernon Davis had 4 receptions for almost 60 yards and a touchdown. Case Keenum is going to be looking for Jordan Reed. I could see maybe a 7-reception, 50-yard game, and a touchdown. Nothing exciting, but Case Keenum is going to be looking for his tight ends. And I think if Jordan Reed's available, that's the guy I'm scooping up.
Decent pick. Of course, he was going to be probably one of the favorites on a team like that. I am going to go for, I'm going to take a flyer on another broken down player. Tyler Eifert had 6 targets this past week against the Seahawks, going up against another surprisingly decent secondary in San Francisco. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to have to throw a lot. They're going to have to continue what they were doing this past week. Tyler Eifert has a lot of skill as a player. He's only owned in 9% of leagues. 6 targets, 5 receptions. Again, easily one of those could turn into a touchdown, as Tyler Eifert was known for his red zone work. So I'm taking Tyler Eifert as my tight end.
You're making me feel bad, Caleb. I'm taking all these 40% guys.
Well,
and you're taking all these single-digit ones.
I just want to make sure that people know these players have to be available.
Oh, well, then you're not going to like my next one. My defense. Oh, no, you get to go. Pick a defense.
Oh, I get to go. Oh, you go ahead and go. I was typing in my picks in the doc so we can keep track of them.
The Chicago Bears. No, just kidding. Let me follow where you are on the docs. I want to make sure I'm not taking... Okay. Defense. Buffalo Bills are owned in about 40% of leagues right now, and I don't know why. They have a very good defense. They made life a living heck for Sam Darnold. They picked him off. I think they had some fumble recoveries. Yes, they did. They're just a solid defense, and they're going to play the New York Giants, which we all know if you can get to Eli Manning, it could be a defensive buffet, fantasy-wise. So, Buffalo Bills, not much more to say about it.
Not much more to say. Fine. I think I'm picking what may be a sneaky pick because San Francisco 49ers just torched the Tampa Bay offense for 27 fantasy points. Jameis Winston didn't know what to do with himself. Now they're about to go up against Cincinnati Bengals. And although the Bengals end Andy Dalton did very well this past week. We all know Andy Dalton can fall apart at any moment. And it would seem that the San Francisco secondary is better off than the Seattle Seahawks secondary was. So I'm going to take San Francisco and their defense to see how they fare against Andy Dalton. So that'll be fun.
It'll
49ers.
Be fun for all. Do we have to do a kicker?
No. I just put 4 positions in a defense. We're going to see how we fare against each other. And at the end of the year, if I'm right and you're wrong, then you have to retire life and jump off a bridge. So
and likewise to you. So this podcast will be going solo next year.
How dare you?
You shut that mouth if you knew it was good for you.
So now we're going to point out just a couple of nice matchups for next week, week 2, coming around quick. This is hard to say. I'm really curious to see how the Browns rebound against the Jets next Monday night, to see if it was just a fluke in the way they performed. The Saints and the Rams could be a great high-scoring game. Steelers, I hope they can bounce back against the Seahawks. It's unfortunate that I don't have faith in that.
Oh my gosh. Do you know the Patriots are 19-point favorites against the Dolphins?
Oh man, that's not high enough. I'd say take the over.
Yeah, yikes.
Ravens are going to eat the Cardinals alive.
But that'll be a good test for Kyler Murray. If he can do anything resembling a decent game against the Ravens, I think he's got a very bright future for himself.
I'd say, hey, we didn't ever mention Michael Gallup, but Michael Gallup had quite a week for himself.
Man. Yeah.
Watch him this week against the Redskins. If Deshaun Jackson did the way he did against the Redskins this past week, watch what Michael Gallup, that big downfield threat, can do against the Redskins. So if you have him,
manly, muscly guy
with all his rippling muscles. Very much like it. Very excited for week 2. And let's just get into the DFS picks of the week, man.
Oh, cripes, man. I wasn't prepared for that.
Hey, can I say my DFS pick of the week would be Michael Gallup. I say go for it. Against that Redskins defense, grab him. He'll be much cheaper than all these high-end guys. Just go for it.
He's actually 6,200 on FanDuel. I'm looking at right now. He's around Jamison Crowder, Josh Gordon, DJ Moore.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm okay. 62 isn't bad.
I'm actually going a couple guys ahead of him with John Brown of the Buffalo Bills at 6,300. And in fact, I'd be very tempted to do both these guys. Let me rephrase that. I would be very tempted to select both of these guys on a lineup because they're relatively cheap for their position. And John Brown, man, he got the targets. I don't care what Josh Allen, I don't care how many interceptions he throws. I don't care how ugly the throws are. John Brown had himself a heck of a day, and I'm talking slower to stall so that I can look up his stats. 7 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, so and then he's going to the New York Giants where, I don't know, why don't you tell me what Dak Prescott just did to them? So I'm not saying Josh Allen's going to do that, but John Brown, I feel like, is going to have a decent game. So I'm still stalling because I'm trying to see how many targets he had. And I don't think I'm going to get... 10 targets. He had 10 targets. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
both those guys are winners, man.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was just going to slip this one in there real sneaky, like Derek Carr. He's like one of the I think he's like the 27th or 28th quarterback, 6,600. He's playing in Oakland next week versus the Chiefs. That's always a shootout. If he has any good, like last year, he didn't have a great year, but one of his best games was against the Chiefs. So if you're desperate at quarterback for a cheap one, Derek Carr.
Yeah, that's the biggest negative, unfortunately, with Antonio Brown gone from them. We'll see how that all pans out. But if you got Darren Waller, or if he's sitting out there, look at Darren Waller. He's probably not
my tight end, man. But actually, he's still available in like 40% of leagues.
It's not bad.
If you can believe that.
So if he's out
None
there,
of the leagues we're in.
Grab him.
Grab him in the crotch.
Well, he truly is a tight end converted from a wide receiver. So he's...
And dude,
that big kind of guy you want.
Did you watch Hard Knocks? Like, he was a Raven, and like he just couldn't keep his head in the game because he was always doing drugs. Now he's like clean and sober for a while, and he's just an animal. He's awesome. So I feel like the fact that no one's ever heard of him is because he did drugs. Like, he's a likable guy, and I feel like he's going to have a decent year, and he will no longer be a secret next year.
All right. Poor Darren Waller has to go into the spotlight now. Be relevant.
Yeah. Go make your freaking money if you want.
Like a loser.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all we got. You got anything else?
No. We just went over an hour. We are contemplating dual shortened episodes, so maybe 2 episodes a week that won't be near an hour, maybe like, 30-some minutes a piece. If you guys even give a crap, let us know if you have a preference. I know what my preference would be, and it's just to end the podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Just give it up already.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of fun, but yeah, if you guys have any feedback on what you like, please do so. Again, Life in AFFW on Twitter, Instagram, your mom's phone, all of them will work.
Thank you so much for joining. That was week 1, the recap, the setup. That was a lot. There was a lot going on. I'm surprised we kept it as short as we did. So I'm pretty excited for next week. Thanks, everybody. Have fun. Go, do things to yourself.
Yeah. I don't know. We usually have a good ending, and we didn't really plan an ending for this one. Is there any ideas for you?
We'll have a vocal karate match to end it.
Okay. Basso!